It started with a scream, but no one heard it, because Richard Evonitz had made sure of that. Thick insulation, a remote neighborhood, and a habit of targeting girls who wouldn't be missed, at least not right away. By the time they found out who he was, 3 girls were already dead, and one had narrowly escaped, naked, handcuffed, and shaking while he was in the shower. This isn't a story about how he was caught. It's about how long he wasn't. Richard Mark Evonitz didn't look like a monster. He wore slacks, polished his shoes, worked a stable job. Neighbors called him polite, even meticulous. He lived with his wife, loved his dog, and paid his bills on time. But in his garage was a hidden box, filled with newspaper clippings, hair, and pieces of jewelry, souvenirs. Born in 1963, Evonitz grew up in a broken Florida home. His father was a violent alcoholic, unpredictable, explosive, the kind of man who made the house quieter by entering it. Richard learned early how to stay small, invisible. He was smart, almost too smart, tested high in IQ, graduated early, joined the Navy at 17. He served with distinction, but something was broken long before that. In 1987, while still in uniform, he broke into a 15-year-old girl's home, held her at gunpoint, forced her into the bathroom, made her strip. She survived. He was caught, sentenced to 8 years. He served only 3. Then he vanished into civilian life, got a job at a water pump company, moved states, changed plates, and no one kept watching. In the spring of 1996, 16-year-old Sofia Silva disappeared. She was last seen on her front porch doing homework. No struggle, no blood, no clue. 6 weeks later, her body was found, stuffed into a plastic container, half submerged in a creek. Then, silence. The case went cold. Until May 1997. Kristen and Katie Lisk, 15 and 12, disappeared from their driveway in broad daylight. They were walking home from school, backpacks still on. Their bodies were discovered 5 days later, dumped in the same river, almost identical to Sofia. Detectives realized it too late. The killer was organized and getting better. Evonitz had a system. He'd stalk for days, drive around schools, watch who walked alone. He used a work-issued company car, always clean. No suspicion, no pattern, just opportunity. He built a kit: duct tape, ropes, zip ties, a gun, and fastidious checklist. He didn't make noise. He didn't make mistakes. In June 2002, 15-year-old Kara Robinson was watering plants outside her friend's house. A man pulled up, offered pamphlets. She declined. He pulled a gun, shoved her into a Rubbermaid container, put the lid on, and drove. For hours she was inside that plastic coffin, hot, panicked, gasping. Then he took her into his apartment, tied her to a bed, raped her, showed her murder clips on his TV, bragged about other girls. But Kara was different. She listened. She looked around. She memorized the layout, watched where he placed his wallet, his badge, his employer. When he fell asleep, she chewed through the restraints, crawled to the front door, ran for her life. She gave police everything: his name, his company, even his schedule. They went to arrest him, but he was gone. Evonitz fled across 3 states. Police followed, helicopters above, roadblocks below. They finally trapped him in Florida, his home state. But before they could reach the car, a single gunshot. He'd taken his own life, just 38 years old. He never stood trial, never confessed, but the souvenirs in his trunk told enough. DNA later confirmed he'd murdered Sofia Silva and both Lisk sisters. He's suspected in at least 5 more unsolved disappearances, but we may never know for sure, because monsters like Evonitz don't leave full journals. They leave empty bedrooms and haunted families. Kara survived. She became a police officer, An advocate, a speaker, she said. He didn't pick the wrong girl. He picked the right one because I lived. Her escape ended a decade-long horror story. But for every girl who escaped, there were others who didn't. Richard Evonitz didn't wear a mask. He didn't leave blood trails. He waved to his neighbors, paid his taxes, and for years, he buried girls in rivers and smiled at strangers at the grocery store. Because real horror doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes, it waters your plants and hands you a pamphlet. If you or someone you know is a survivor of assault, resources are available. You are not alone.